Welcome to the Virgin River Cafe Rewatch podcast. Pull up a chair, have a seat. What are you drinking today, Gigi?
Today I am drinking a tall green tea lemonade with an extra shot of lemonade in it.
Very tart.
Very tart.
I am having iced coffee, my drink of choice. I have my brown sugar flavor in it. Yum. Little bit of cold foam on top.
All right.
That'll do the trick.
Season 1, Episode 6. Let's mingle.
Okay, now the summary for this one says Mel gets a surprise visitor just in time for the town's big dance party. Jack continues to suffer flashbacks from his time in the military. So this is a fun one. This is a really good episode. I enjoyed this episode.
I did too.
Now, when we started off, it's something that Jack does often. He splits wood. Now,
Good job of it.
yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess you live in the wilderness, you need firewood because it seems like every house has a fireplace. So I'm guessing firewood is a thing. I think back when Hope was coming home from the hospital, she made a comment to Doc and she's like, well, I need firewood. So I think firewood is something that I've never lived in the wilderness. I don't really know. But I'm assuming that firewood is something you need quite often.
Yeah, I think because it's a small town, everybody there probably have fireplaces.
Yeah. And it's cold. It's Northern California. It's cold up there.
It is, especially come past 5 o'clock, the temperature starts to drop dramatically.
Right.
Even in the summertime, it may be scorching hot, but 5, 6 o'clock in the evening,
Yeah, it drops.
oh, yes.
For sure.
Big time.
So we see Jack, he's splitting wood, and Mel walks up and, City Girl, wouldn't a chainsaw be easier? Now, a chainsaw wouldn't split the wood. That would cut the wood in the pieces that you would need to then split. I think maybe she's just not understanding how this works. But Sammy's like, yeah, it's not as much fun as splitting it. Manly thing like splitting wood.
Exactly.
She's coming to check on him because they just went through this whole thing at the pot farm, being held at gunpoint, having to deliver a breech baby, having to fix a guy's gunshot wound. She's just coming to check on him.
It seems like a regular day in the life of Mel at this point.
The girl has been there for 3 weeks and all this stuff has happened. I mean, I think most people would have cut and ran by now, but
yeah,
I don't think she has anywhere to go to. So maybe she's certainly not, like she told her sister, she's not going home. So
yeah,
she's going to make it
LA
work.
is not the place she had.
Yeah. Jack, he's good. He's fine. Why is she asking? And she's curious. Now, it's cute that she's coming to check on him. He's wondering, well, wait a second, where have you been the last few days? And she had to recover from the whole pot thing. I mean, that's a pretty traumatic experience. She said she was fine when they got back, but it probably caught up with her. Now, I think she is concerned that these things affect him more than he thinks they do because of what happened. Remember, in the last episode, he had a night terror.
Yeah, he had a night terror. And of course, when you have a night terror, you don't remember having a night terror.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she's asking him if he's okay.
And he's clueless. Like, what are you talking about? I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're asking somebody who doesn't remember something happened. She's asking him if he's having a hard time sleeping. And he has that look on his face like, what are you talking about?
Right. Clueless.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm worried about you more than you should be worried about me, sort of thing.
Right. And I think he's probably thinking, well, she's probably worried about, all these people in the pot farm, but how nice of him and Doc they went and they talked to Calvin. They warned Calvin to keep the distance from Mel or he's gonna have to deal with me. It's like all of a sudden he's become a protector, like if anybody messes with Mel, he's gonna step in and deal with it. Well, very cute.
Very cute. But I think also, as you pointed out in previous episodes, is that Jack by nature is a protector.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to make sure that his friends and his family are safe and he's there for them. So I think that was a natural step for him when they went to visit Calvin, even though we don't see that's something that happens in the background.
Right.
We can imagine him just looking Calvin up and down and going, Bud,
yeah,
stay
away from Mel.
Exactly. You cross that line and you're going to be dealing with me.
Right. And he's not answering her question about like, how have you been sleeping? And he's like, I'm totally fine. And this is when you can tell she's very reluctant about saying anything because it's a touchy subject. Obviously he's got something going on that if he's having these night terrors, it's like, do you say something? Do you not say something? But Mel has always she hits things head on. So
she doesn't shy away from
things. No, she's not a wilting flower, that's for sure.
she is not.
So she asks him, remember when you stayed over and I couldn't fall asleep and you fell asleep in the chair? And she tells him, well, I think you were having and he is like, what are you talking about? And it's not like she's telling him you just moved. You were thrashing. You jumped up.
Mm-hmm.
You were yelling. Like, he does not even, like, he's like, if I don't remember it, it didn't happen. That's kind of his attitude.
Yeah.
And knowing her from the medical field, she's aware that people who have trauma, people that have been in war and combat, it's not uncommon for that to happen. He's almost like apprehensive to listen to her, but also like dismissive in a way.
Yeah, because in his mind, nothing is wrong with him. He's fine, and he doesn't. That's something he doesn't want to bring
Oh,
up.
he is not going to talk about that.
This is the war is a traumatic experience for him.
It's
And
personal.
the last person he wants to talk to about this is Mel.
So then we have Hope, who barges in out back because
Mm-hmm.
they're in the back of the bar, and she is freaking out.
Yes,
Clearly she's had her coffee, and she's confused about, like, preacher's trying to make some kind of ham, and they always do it a certain way, and she just cannot. She doesn't going to be ready. I don't understand. And she's like, oh my gosh, I have a heart attack, and everything goes to hell in a handbasket in this town. And then she turns her attention to Mel.
Yeah, she does.
And she
And
starts asking Mel.
Right. Well, and here's where things get interesting, because Mel has had a very traumatic couple of days. So the fact that she's expecting Mel to RSVP an invitation to this event, which is probably in her email, and
yeah,
she
but Mel is like,
even looked.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly. She probably hasn't even looked at her email. And apparently, this event is called the Moonlight Mingle. It's the premier social event. Now, when people say it's a premier social event, it means everybody up in the mountains, down in the valley, across the stream, everybody and their mother and their kid is at this event.
Right. And it's at a farmhouse, and they dress it up, and they have dinner and dancing, and everybody goes. And everyone's expected to go. And she explains that it's basically you're dancing, and then someone yells mingle, and you switch partners. Of course, Mel's like, oh, sounds like a square dance. Well, that's almost offensive. Almost offensive to Hope.
Oh no, it is offensive to Hope, because for Hope, that means you're all down redneck, and she is not a redneck in her mind.
No, this is an elegant event, as Jack says. It's elegant. Yeah, and Mel is like, I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna, thanks, but no, thanks. And that is highly unsociable. Like, it's like it's a mandatory attendance. You need to attend this event that everyone is expected to attend. And Mel tries to come up with an excuse like, well, I'm just not a good dancer.
And out of the blue comes a voice that says, you lied. And who can it be? Nobody other than her big sis, Joey, who is showing up looking like even more of a. Mel may be city, but Joey is Beverly Hills. Honey.
Yeah, she's definitely
definitely
big city,
because she's past big city. She is a socialite. That's who Joey is.
Yeah.
So you have city girl, and then you have high society girl.
High society city girl.
Oh Lord, just what this little town needs.
I mean, everybody they're all like looking at her like, what? So they get invited into the bar, and Jack offers coffee, and they sit down at the bar. She's looking around, and I love her comment that the place is really committed to the dead animal motif. Jack is like, well, everyone tells a story, and her line is great with a very upsetting ending. I love that. And so she's like, this is Jack. He owns the bar. And Joey's now heard about Jack. They've talked. She spent time together. Mel's given her some information. Oh, that Jack. And what is that supposed to mean? Nothing. No, we're not talking about you.
Now we get it.
Now Brady, who is behind the bar, takes a little bit of an interest here.
A little bit of an interest. She's the one who's having a moment.
Oh.
This girlfriend is just like eyeing up Brady like a slice of.
Yep. She's looking at him. He's looking at her. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. And then Preacher walks in with Hope. She says that Preacher swears that the pig will be ready in time for the Moonlight Mingle. She's just wanted to come to town and see what this place has, captivated her sister. Why is she here? And she wants to kind of check it out because she's been hearing about it the past couple of weeks, but she's
Mm-hmm.
not sure why her sister is still here. Hope offers that if you need anything here in town, ask Jack. Not herself. No, no, no. Ask Jack because apparently Jack takes care of everything.
Apparently so.
She tells Mel, I will see you at the Mingo and please bring your sister. That piques Joey's curiosity. And this is a surprise visit, keep in mind. This is not something that was planned. Mel would have appreciated a little notice. She could have maybe arranged her schedule, but for Joey, she's like, wouldn't have been a surprise if I told you.
And at the
So,
same time, they're getting ready to leave the bar.
Brady, what a gentleman he
Brady,
is.
yes, Brady offers to take her luggage to the bed and breakfast
How
while
nice.
they go off to do other things. I
How
think it's
nice.
just Brady's excuse to get out of the
Get
bar.
out of the
To be
bar.
honest.
Exactly. Any chance he can get to get out of the bar.
Yeah. So they go through the back door, and Mel now wants to know why she's there. And
The
also
real
the
reason.
yeah, the real reason. In Joey's mind, she's like, you just went through a traumatic situation with the drug dealers and the growers, and I am concerned about your well being, and that's why I'm coming to check on you. But the interesting thing about this also is this is Joey's birthday weekend.
Yes.
So normally, Joey is off somewhere in the world celebrating her birthday in grand old fashioned style.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Joey celebrates her birthday, apparently it is a big thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal because apparently her last birthday, she went and she broke her credit card
Mm-hmm.
and the spending limit.
Yeah.
I am trying to figure out.
What you have to do to actually do that.
Do we know? Yeah, because that card has a very high limit.
Mm-hmm.
So what was Joey shopping for?
Who
I'd
knows?
love to know. Yeah. So she's telling her sister she's here. There's no kids. There's no responsibility. She's just here to enjoy her birthday with Mel. And Mel is having a
She's
very hard
very
time.
skeptical. This,
Yes. Yes.
she's very skeptical. I mean, to have her birthday in Virgin River just seems
Yeah.
not like something that Joey would do. But,
As I
she tries
said.
to reassure her. Look, I just want to spend my birthday with you.
Miss Beverly Hills in
Mm-hmm.
Virgin River. Ooh, that is quite a combo, my friend.
Right.
So next we have Hope at her house with Doc sitting on the porch. He is there to tell her about the divorce, letting her know that they have an appointment, but Hope is now socially up, she's involved in the whole Mingle thing. So him talking about divorce and a lawyer and all this sort of thing
She doesn't have time
just
for this meeting, but
doesn't have not time for it.
if they don't schedule this meeting now, then they have to wait another month. And he just is like,
Right.
look, if you want to get this over with, we have to. So she agrees. Fine, we'll meet with the lawyer.
Right. And
Well,
also her concern is that Mel's sister is there, maybe there to convince her sister to come back home.
right.
So she's not thrilled that Joey's there because she knows that Joey is probably there to convince her to go home, especially after what just happened a few days ago.
Right.
So, but Dockley's saying, stay out of it, mind your own business. And
So
Hope
difficult
has
for
a
Hope.
really very hard time for Pope because at this point she thought she was doing well after the whole Lily thing, and things had straightened itself out, and things were calm, and Mel was doing well, and Doc was doing okay, and then this whole pot farm with the baby and everything else, the other baby, has now thrown Hope into being
She's worried.
distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's worried. Yeah, and she has a right to be,
Mm-hmm.
because if my sister had gone through that, I wasn't leaving without her.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would basically go, why are you still here? You almost got killed. This person threatened your life.
Right.
What are you doing here? Now, if I see Jack, I can understand.
Yeah, that explains it a little bit. Sure.
Anyway.
So before Doc leaves, he reminds Hope that when they go to this meeting with the lawyer to bring her checkbook.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And she's not understanding why. And he's like, "Well, you gotta pay for half of this. And he's like, the divorce wasn't my idea. She constantly reminds him that the transgression that happened to cause the divorce is his fault. The indiscretion that he did is the reason they're getting a divorce. And so she doesn't feel like she should have to pay for it.
Insult to injury, she says to him she has no money. And basically, he
Everybody knows
looks at
that's
her
a
and
lie.
goes, that's so much of a lie. And I don't know why she's always saying she's poor.
Yeah.
Because everybody, now we as the viewers, don't know where her income comes from. But everybody in that town knows that Hope McRae has more money than God. Excuse the
Probably.
expression.
She
And
probably
so
does.
her saying she's poor or she doesn't have the money, it's just like the conversation she had with Jack when he was talking about the cabin renovation. It's the same thing she's having now with Doc. And they're both like, yeah, you need to talk to someone who doesn't know you because you got money, girlfriend. So let's bring on the cash. Doc has decided, okay, he's going to pay for it because she's using his transgressions as
a
the
reason for not having to pay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Here we are back at the bed and breakfast in Mel's room. Very quaint. They've set up a little cot for Joey. How cute is that? And I mean, she's used to luxury hotels, so this is very different. You know, quaint is a nice word for it. And she would have gotten her own room, but they were booked, so they have to share. And she suggests that they share the bed. She thinks, you know, because that's what they used to do when they were kids. She thought that would be fun. Now, Joey, like we've said, she has high standards, and she's very concerned about the thread count on the sheets. I mean, Mel doesn't care. Mel's comfortable. Mel is like, it's fine. It's whatever. But Joey,
said, I'm allergic to organic flavor.
She brings her own sheets. I mean, who does that? Seriously.
Because these are 250 tread count, and that does not work.
That's not enough.
Woman.
It's not good enough. Yeah.
So they strip the bed and it's ready to put the sheets on. And then she starts asking her about Chloe. And how Chloe's doing, because she knows that she was attached to Chloe.
Yes.
And she says that Chloe's doing well with her mom. And Mel says she's glad she reunited Chloe and Lily. But you can tell by this conversation that Joey's fishing for something.
Oh, yeah. Because the way that she words
what she's fishing for is she trying to...
She words it in such a way, like, how do you feel about giving her up? But she didn't give her up. She gave her back.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't adopt her or anything like that. She just took care of her for a short period of time.
Right. And she reunited her. It's not like she was hers and somebody came and took her away. But the way that Joey phrases it, it's almost like traumatic experience. I mean, I'm sure it was difficult, of course. But I think she's reading more into it than is really there. And so at this point, they're trying to figure out what she wants to do for her birthday. Because she's here on her birthday, and she's used to doing much different things than hanging out in Virgin River. Joey is like, I don't want to make a big deal about it. You come all the way here not to make a big deal about your... Like, it doesn't make sense. She's definitely got an ulterior motive.
She does. And she says she wants a low-key birthday. She just wants to spend her. And, Mel's not buying this. Mel is not buying.
Yeah, definitely. And she just says you should just come home. Because that's her ulterior motive. Convince her to go back to LA. And this happens on the phone with them every time they talk. It starts off really nice. And then it all falls apart very quickly.
She's telling her, you're still wearing your wedding ring and you're in denial. Now we have the conversation where the two of them are now not
seeing eye to eye.
Fun conversation. And so she's like, I don't understand why you're here. What are you doing here? And
Mel's trying to figure her life out.
And her sister is not having it. She wants her to be honest with herself. You're hiding away here. What you're doing here is not solving the problem. Come back to LA and we can work it out together. And she doesn't understand that Mel wants to do this on her own, that she has to figure this out by herself. And Joey feels that she has to be there to pick up the pieces all the time in Mel's life. And this is a conversation that's going to come back later on in a couple of episodes, another season. Joey feels that it's her responsibility to take care of Mel.
She's been doing it for so long, it's like she doesn't know how to do anything different.
That's right.
She leaves. She's like, I got to get out of here. She goes to the bar, and Jack is there, and she's a little distraught. She's just had a nice, lovely argument with her sister, which happens often. And she would love to have a bottle of gin, but, Jack's like, I think an iced tea would be just fine. Oh my gosh. She's like, she's been here
And then
5
she
minutes
says,
and
"My
we're
sister's been
already
here for
fighting.
5 minutes."
They're already
But
fighting.
because and the thing about it is, this is as you said before, this is very typical. The only difference now is she can't hang up on her. She has to walk away
Yeah,
from the
she has to
situation
walk
before
away.
she says something that. So yeah,
Mhm.
and Jack is trying to be, the consoler and tell
Trying
her
to be
that it's gonna
empathetic.
be okay.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
tells a story
You
about
know
a
that.
family of brothers who kind of went through the same thing. And once one punched the other, it was all over. And so she's like, "What, do you want me to punch my sister?" And he's like, "No, just apologize. It'll be fine. You love each other. It'll
Enjoy the
be fine."
visit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, Mel knows that
and
her
it's not.
sister loves her, but
Yeah, she just feels that her sister is too wrapped up in her life, and
mm-hmm.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
So, and Jack is saying, he felt this way. He didn't feel like he fit in when he got back from Iraq, and so he had to find his own way with his
He came to this town.
because his
His family
family was
didn't understand either. Why are you in this dinky little town living your life?
exactly.
Like, and so this is how they relate to each other
Yeah.
because she's doing the exact same thing. And he's
Right.
like,
They're
I
both,
get it.
yeah. And they both had traumatizing experiences. And so Virgin River is a new beginning for them both.
Mm-hmm.
And even though neither of them know the extent of the trauma, they know that this is the place they need to be right now. But their families don't get that.
No, not at all.
That's where she and Joe butt heads on a constant basis.
Mm-hmm. She knows that Joey's there, most likely to try and get her to change her mind and come
Oh,
back
she
home.
knows that's the reason for the
Absolutely.
case. That's why that's making Hope nervous because Hope does not want to lose Mel.
Mm-hmm.
She's done enough lying and manipulating to get her there,
Right.
and she
Exactly.
she does not want to do this all over again. So
and
yeah,
and Jack's sort of like, wow, are you you think she's going to try to convince you? I mean, is that even still an option? And I mean, she's kind of got to look at it. Well, okay, I've got this trial period with Doc at 30 days is going to be up soon. How
yeah,
does he even want me here? Not only does she want to be there, but does he even want her there? Because things have to work out for this to continue. And so she's not sure she
yeah.
wants to stay. She's not sure Doc wants her to stay. I mean, that's the rest of the year. And he, of course, because he wants her to stay, he's trying to
Oh
be
yes,
empathetic, but he also has to kind of have her see the positive of staying. That even though your family is this, there's a strong pull to the family, but also independence, being independent is a really, really good thing. And that's the
it
spark that
is.
she needed. It's like that was the thing that he almost had to remind her of, that she is
Yeah,
independent, that
yeah,
she can do this, or she wouldn't have been there in the first place. I guess she figures, well,
yeah,
I mean, it is her sister. She's just going to have to apologize. And Jack and his cute little
yeah.
lines like, the view is always better from the high road.
Yeah, but I don't see why she should apologize. But if
For
but I
arguing, I
guess
mean,
Mel is about making peace. So
yeah,
there's that. So
yeah.
anyway, so we leave the scene and we go over to Paige's
Bakery truck.
muffin truck, and she's there with Preacher, who is getting all the pies ready for the
The mingle.
mingle. And at this point, there's a discrepancy again in Paige's history. Preacher calls her out on it. It's sort of like she's now backtracking
Mm-hmm.
as far as that history that she's told. And at the same time, Christopher is listening to this conversation and he is trying to figure out where his mom is with this lie and the story that she's telling Preacher.
Yeah, because she says she needs to go to Clear River for something. And he was like, why do we need to go to Clear River? We don't go to Clear River. Preacher
And
wanted to go with her to the mingle. And she's not ready for that. So she
yeah,
kind of tells him a little white lie to kind of get out of it.
right. And if you notice, her lies are starting to catch up with her
Mm-hmm.
because she's told Preacher one thing early on when she first moved there,
Mm-hmm.
and then things are happening that she's forgotten what she said. Preacher is like, well, that's not what you told me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so now she has to backtrack. So we'll see. So we end up now back.
The McCrae cabin, so much renovation. I mean, they are pulling so much stuff out of here, and there's, oh my gosh, dumpsters, and it's a mess. It is a
It is,
mess.
and Brady is helping this time
Yeah, Ricky's
with
still there. doing a good job.
Yep.
Now, Jack is like, we got to get this done. We got till the end of the week. We need to hustle. And look who shows up.
None other than Charmaine.
Yeah, she has a little gap in her schedule, so she thought she'd come and visit him. And he
Yeah.
just looks so uncomfortable.
And she gives him a kiss in front of the guys.
Mm.
And you could tell by the look on his face, he's like,
Why
oh
is she
boy.
here? Why is she here? I mean, and she doesn't know what the reason for this cabin. All she knows is this is something he's working on. Because I don't
Right.
think it's out as to why he's working on it. And she's like, wow, you're really transforming this place. I mean, wow, this is great. And Brady is just watching the two of them like, oh my goodness.
Right.
This is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
because Brady already knows.
Oh, he knows
He
what's
can
going on.
senses what's going on between him and Mel. And basically he's like, you got your plate full here, buddy.
Yeah.
And the look on Jack's face basically goes, what the hell is he talking about? I swear this man is non-committal at this point.
No, he's
And
not
he
committing to
just,
anybody, anything for any reason.
yeah, he's not. Anyway, we go back to the bed and breakfast, and Mel comes back to apologize to Joey. And Joey's putting on her lipstick because apparently Joey has decided that she
Oh,
is
yes.
going.
They're going to the Mingle, whether she likes it or not. She just has to have better shoes because what she brought is not going to be appropriate for the Mingle, especially if it's on a farm.
As I said, Miss Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Beverly Hills.
Yes, Beverly Hills. She tries to explain to her, I don't know what you think this is going to be, but it may not live up to the expectations that you think. But it doesn't matter because you know what? Joey just wants to go out. So they just have to find something to wear and they're just going to go and they're just going to have a good time and they're not going to worry about it. They're not going to argue anymore. They're going to make up and they're going to move on, which is what always happens. They argue and they get over it.
Right. So then we go to the barn where they're having the mingle, and it's beautiful. It's decorated lovely. People are shaking and grooving what their mama gave them.
All the ladies, all the sewing circle ladies are there. They're so cute.
Yeah. Everybody's there and dancing, and you see Hope without her glasses on, and she's all dressed up nicely, and they're discussing. There's a little group of Hope and Connie
and
and
Liddy.
They're discussing Lily and saying that how Lily is doing so well, with the therapist. And then Vernon Doc walks in and he looks like
he is hot. He is mad. Oof.
He is pissed as hell. And the reason for him being pissed is because Hope missed the appointment with the lawyer. That means they have to pay for the lawyer's time. And he doesn't understand why she asked for this divorce and now she's acting like it doesn't as important as she made it. So Doc is just a pissed off man.
Yeah, definitely not a happy camper at this point. And Hope is like, I had to deal with things with the Mingle and I didn't have time for that and I told you I was busy, and just leaves him standing there. Now, as people are walking in, we see Mel and Joey walk into the Mingle.
Yes, and everybody's dancing and looking like they're having a really good time. And they look lovely. They're lovely dressed. And so she doesn't want to talk about kids or a husband or anything like that. She just wants to have a good old time.
She's already talked to her kids. She didn't need mention talking to her husband, but she did talk to her kids, which I'm sure Mel thought that was a little weird. They're just there to have a good time, and they run into Preacher.
Yes, they do some introductions.
Yep.
And Joey gives Mel her phone because she doesn't have a purse. The DJ says, "Let's mingle." So Mel and Preacher dance. They have this awkward moment. Where,
like, shouldn't we? How should we dance? They look
exactly.
like an 8th grade dance, the way that they're dancing.
Exactly.
They look like 8th graders who are dancing like they feel uncomfortable with each other. It's kind of funny.
Preacher basically is saying he doesn't know how to dance. And she's telling him, oh, no, he knows how to dance. But she said he's basically telling her, you lie.
But thanks.
That's very sweet of you. So they're making small talk as they dance together. And she's telling him, thank you for helping Jack. You're a good man.
And then she starts
how long
digging.
Have you known each other?
Yeah, she starts digging. Yeah. How long have you known Jack? And we find out that they've served together for 10 years. So he knows him pretty well. That's crazy. He figures they must be really close, and it's like they're brothers. He says, or, I know him better than he knows himself, which is interesting. And
Yes.
being in the Marines, it's a tough job. I mean, Jack's job, Preacher says Jack's job was to make sure that everybody got home safe. Mel is digging because, she knows about these night terrors, and now she's trying to find out how is he really doing, and maybe Preacher knows something. Jack wants to handle his own business, and Preacher explains that to Mel, because as much as she would love for him to maybe get some help, she finds out that nope, that's not the way Jack handles his business. He takes care of himself, and he likes to deal with his own problems.
And also, as we find out about Preacher lets people do their own thing. He doesn't get into their
He's
business,
not a
and he
gossip.
doesn't want
Mm-mm.
anybody in his business. No, he's not a gossipy. But this is very typical of most men. They are only interested in what's going on in their lives. They're not interested in what's going on in anybody else's
Mm-hmm.
life. Let's just let sleep dogs lie. Let
Mm-hmm.
Jack be Jack.
Let
You
him
stay
handle
in
his
your
own
corner. Let
business
Jack
and leave it
stay in
alone.
his.
My advice is just let it go. And of course, the guy yells,
And the DJ says,
Mingle.
Mingle.
And interestingly enough,
And at the same time,
text message comes in. And who is
yes,
it?
her husband. And at the same time, she's about to go talk to Joey when, what's his name?
Ricky.
Ricky asks her to dance and very awkwardly asks her to
Yeah,
dance.
he's
And
cute. He's a
also at the
teenager.
same
I
time,
mean,
yeah, probably never danced with someone as old as Mel, as,
well, and
and
he's,
not
remember,
saying
he
that she's
thinks she's a
old,
hot
but
doctor.
he's a
So,
teen. That's right. So at the same time, who walks in while everybody's dancing but Jack and Charmaine? Ay vey.
I know.
So she says, "Let's go dance." And
He would rather go get a drink.
so he says, "Right." And
Yeah.
so she says, "I'm gonna go say hi to my friends." And he sees Mel dancing with Ricky, and she looks at him with those eyes that
Mm-hmm.
say, "I hope you're okay. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of you." Goes to the bar and he waiting for his drink, and he sees Mel's sister talking to none other than who?
Brady. Yes, they
Brady.
seem
Yes.
cozy, which he has
Yes. A
a
little
skeptical
too
look on his
cozy.
face. He looks a little concerned.
Mm.
And then
Mhm.
Mel runs into Doc, who now it's like, well, that's what you do. You mingle. So they decide to dance. Now, this is a little bit of a faster song, and he's been, obviously, Doc knows what he's doing. He can cut a rug. So they seem to be dancing very nicely, which is very cute. And Connie and Hope have a little chat about her divorce. Now Connie is like, "Really? You're really going to get
Yeah.
divorced? Are you serious? Like, you guys have been going back and forth with this for years. Like, I don't believe it." But Hope assures her that this is it. This is the real thing. We really are going to get divorced. I mean, what is she going to do? She's got to believe what she says. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, Doc is a really good
Yeah.
dancer,
And Doc
apparently.
is He
And
is.
why?
Yes, he is. He took dancing lessons in high school, and that was a way to get the pretty girls. And that's true. I love a man who can dance.
Right?
So,
Now, Doc, of course, sees Joey,
yeah.
and he hadn't met her yet. I don't think he wasn't anywhere where she was. And he's questioning, are you, asking a few things about her, wondering, is she here to maybe talk you into going home? They talk about their families. I mean, it's like small talk. I mean, it's kind of a little uncomfortable because considering where they started with the yelling and the firing and all of that, but he's maybe a little concerned. I mean, I don't know that he's 100% on board with keeping her, but I think he's starting to get warm up to the idea. So I think with the pot
Mm-hmm.
camp and everything, it makes it a little hard for her sister to feel okay with her being there. I guess Doc is just trying to figure out what's going on. And Doc isn't
Yeah,
the
he
one
said,
to tell
I don't want
her what to do. That,
exactly because he's not Hope.
mm-mm. That's
Basically,
Hope's job to tell everybody what to
he's
do.
gonna let her. He's going to make. And then again, Joey's phone
Mm-hmm.
that starts to beep. Oh, starts to ring, and she picks up the phone and she
Well,
starts to talk to
now
Bill.
that text message, did you read what the text message said? That it was he had found an apartment near where their house is, which is
That's right.
something that Mel didn't know, that they were having problems and he's moving out. So when
Yes.
she gets this phone call that he's probably trying to call Joey, she picks up the phone and now she's going to find out what's going on because she doesn't know anything about this.
Right. And so now it's the interesting thing is that there are things going on in Joey's life that Mel has no idea what's
Well,
happening.
no, because Joey doesn't feel
You
the
know,
need to share. She wants to be in Mel's business,
exact,
but she doesn't want to share anything with Mel.
exactly.
That is a theme for sure.
Yes, it is.
Now, Hope and Preacher are dancing, and little Christopher is just kind of checking in on Preacher, and he would really like Preacher to ask his mom to dance because
Yeah.
he sees how much time they spend together. He really likes Preacher. Preacher really likes him. They're like cool buddies. He's just such the little helper. He's really cute. Now, Hope is suggesting to Preacher that you might want to ask her to dance. And he, for being the Marine and this strapping young man with machine guns and combat experience, that he's nervous about asking
Oh,
someone to dance, which is so
yeah.
cute.
He is a tall glass of water, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Tall glass of water.
yeah, for sure.
Yes. In the meantime, Hope turns around and she sees that Doc is dancing with Muriel. And Muriel is
Having a
she's
good
very
time.
fun. She's having a good old time. She's free and single to mingle, ladies.
Oh, yeah, and she's in the right
So
place for it.
she is. And Hope does not look happy when
No.
she sees them together because they're laughing and dancing, and Doc is spinning her around on the floor. And there's that look on Hope's face that basically says, "Oh, if only looks could kill, she would have been buried 6 feet under."
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, she doesn't like her at all.
No.
Oh, and now Jack reunites with Charmaine,
Charmaine.
yeah, who's now finished chatting with her girls from the salon, and she wants to dance. Like, where have you been? And he's like, I'm just right here. Like, I'm not going, I'm not anywhere. I'm just right here. And he
Yes.
couldn't look more uncomfortable.
Oh, he is miserable. And Charmaine is running her hands through his
And she's
hair.
just so happy. I could stay like this forever. I'm so lucky. And he's looking across the room at Brady and
Yeah.
Joey. And
Mm-hmm.
Brady does this little like salute, kind
So
of
Luke,
like, hey, how's it going? And it just triggers him. Like he goes right back to the war. And this is clearly some years ago because both of them have very clean cut haircuts and they're in their uniform and they're standing amongst all these caskets of all these soldiers that had died in something that happened there, and the two of them are saluting the caskets as they leave, and it's like that salute just triggers him, and
yes, it does.
it
And
almost
one of
freaks
those,
him out.
yeah, and one of those caskets in particular is one of their friends.
Yeah, one of the guys in their group, Lonigan.
Yes. So, and his name will come up later on.
Yeah.
Why it's so significant.
And it came up when he was having his night terror. He was yelling
Yes.
Lonigan. So, I mean, this is definitely something that has just eaten away at him since it happened.
Yeah.
Now, he needs a
So
moment. So he takes the little spiral staircase upstairs so he can just breathe. And at the same time, Charmaine is doing a little dance with Ricky.
yeah, because they did say mingle, and so
They had to switch partners.
And instead of Jack mingling with someone, he decided to go up into the upper part of the barn, and he's looking down at them.
Mm-hmm.
And the look on Charmaine's face. Now, Mel is nowhere near Jack, but she senses he is distracted.
Mm-hmm.
She has a look of worry on her face. She doesn't know what it is quite yet, but it's going to be, she knows something is bothering.
Absolutely.
So at the same time now, we have, again, the DJ does mingle, and Doc and Hope
end up dancing together.
Exactly. And of course, that makes things interesting.
Well, they have to continue their argument about the indiscretion and what he did and how they're the lawyer. I mean, it's like she just can't let it go. She says that he's acting like she's being unreasonable, and he's like, "Look, I've apologized. I've apologized for 20 years."
Exactly. So again, now she walks off, and he starts to dance with Charmaine, but we don't get into a conversation. They move the camera so that now we focus on
Preacher and Paige, who are
Paige.
standing very awkwardly next to each other, talking about the food and what people are serving and doesn't this look nice, and it's like so awkward. And he asked, because remember he had wanted to take her and Christopher to there, and she was like, "Oh, I have to go to Clear River," and he asked, "Well, how was Clear River?" And they wound up not going. So but it's time to mingle, and they kind of okay, well, we're standing here, and they decide to dance, which is very cute. Very cute. I'm sure Christopher's very happy seeing his mom dance with Preacher. He was trying to play a little matchmaker.
Yes, he was. So we're seeing everybody dancing now, and we're seeing how Brady and Joey are dancing together, and Mel walks back into the dance floor,
With
and
jackets in hand.
yes, and she's like, Joey, like, I need to talk to you,
We
and
should go. We should go. It's
yeah,
getting late. And it's not.
and
It's
she's
not
like,
getting late. She's just like,
no,
she just wants to go. She just wants to get out of there.
and
And
she says, I
Joey's
really
like,
don't
oh,
feel like it. Yeah,
Joey's,
if you want to go, you can
yes,
go.
you can go. And Joey is dancing very close with Brady.
Oh yeah, she is
Yes.
rubbing up all over the man.
She's
Let
like,
me
oh,
tell
you
you.
should feel his skin. His cheek is so soft and he doesn't use moisturizer. She's clearly been drinking. And Mel
Yes,
is like,
she
I'm
has
good. I
been.
don't need to feel his face, but thank you very much. And can we go? No, it's
Yeah,
early. We don't need to go. It's fine. And even Brady is like
and preacher
defending her.
and Brady's like, I'll take her home. Don't worry. If she needs a ride, I'll give her a ride. And then this is
Mel
where
breaks
the
the
evening
news.
gets in. And she says, I just spoke to Bill. And she's like, what do you mean you spoke to Bill? And she says, I accidentally saw a text from him. And Joey get irate now. She's like, you're reading my text messages, answering my phone calls. Why are you in my marriage? And this is where things get
Yeah,
really.
this is definitely not the same on both sides because Mel feels like
No,
she's
it's
been
not.
running her life since she was 11 and she feels like she can't even ask Joey about her husband. Like,
Right,
she's just not
exactly.
allowed.
And she's like, do you think I want to run your life? And basically, she's like, she's given up so many things for her to take care of her. And Mel's like, I didn't ask you to take care of me.
But
And she was,
honestly,
well,
what choice did she really have?
right, yeah. Mom died, and
Dad was
so it was just,
distraught. He was just a
yes,
mess after the mom
right.
died and he wasn't capable and she sort of had to step up.
And she basically is now the kid gloves come off because what's the saying you said about how your siblings are the one who
Oh, yes.
know you.
Your family can push your buttons the best because they're
Yeah,
the ones that
because
installed them.
onto it, yeah. So now she's bringing out all the guns.
Yep.
She's telling her now who's the one who's hiding,
Who
and
ran away? You just run away from everything
right,
and you
exactly.
ran all the way here and you're hiding and you're not facing your problems. You're not doing what you're supposed to do because that's not the way she would do
Yeah.
it. She feels like she's not
Hmm.
dealing with reality and the only way to get back on track is to go back to LA. And Mel is like, I'm running my own life. This is my decision and that it does not end well. And Joey's mad. She walks away and she grabs Brady and just says, let's dance.
Right. And now Hope in the background is watching all of this going on between the stuff going on with Mel and her sister, and also that Doc is dancing. And he's dancing with none
Connie.
other than Connie. Connie's trying to figure out what they're doing. He's trying to explain to Connie he's done everything for Hope to forgive him, and he doesn't know why she won't forgive him. And Connie now has to explain to Doc why Hope feels the way she feels,
Mm-hmm.
and that how he was supposed to be her Prince Charming. And Doc's like, she's never been like this. And she said, no, she was like this.
He
She thought
ruined it.
you were her happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he ruined. And so that's why she feels the way she does. And he needs to mend her broken heart. And Doc's just like, I don't know what to do about that. How do I do that? So,
And Connie, who is always good for advice and her two
yeah,
cents because she can't help herself, just
yeah.
basically says she
Like,
has to trust you. If she doesn't trust
yeah.
you, you're never going to get her back.
We see people again dancing on the dance floor, and Preacher and Paige are dancing, and they're trying to get to know each other in a more personal manner without talking about pies and pigs.
Right. Yes, and cookies and and all the good things.
Yes. And all of a sudden, she sees in her visual, while she's now relaxing, she sees a man, and then she starts looking for Christopher, and panic ensues. And she is looking for him everywhere. And finally, she finds him, and she like breathes a sigh of relief because for some reason she thought that this man who we only see a glimpse of took him.
Or just, yeah,
And
something. She is very uneasy. Very uneasy.
yeah, and she basically says,
That's
we're
it.
leaving.
We're done. I'm this
Yeah,
is enough. We have to go. Poor preacher.
yeah.
He's just standing
And
there.
Preacher's standing there, and he's like, what the hell just happened? At this point, we see now Jack dancing. Oh, he's kicking up a storm here
with Liddy. That's
with
Ricky's
Lily,
grandma.
and Lily is having a good old time. And Lily tells him that, she really appreciates everything he's done for her grandson, Ricky. And he looks up to him. He's just a good man, and that she
Yeah,
really
he
just,
never had a father. He never, because his father wasn't around, and
right.
Jack sort of became a role model and a father figure for him. And she's lived in this town a long time, but he lost his mom when he was young. We find out, and he's always kind of needed this parental figure, and Jack sort of stepped in and was that for him, and she just so appreciates that.
Yeah.
And he
And
reminds her that it's everybody's there for Ricky. It's Hope and
exactly.
Doc and
Yeah,
everybody.
everybody in the town is there to help.
Like they say, a
Ricky.
village, it takes a village. Well, it takes a
That
town.
no, it really does, because everybody in this town seems to look out for each other
Hmm.
regardless. So the DJ says mingle again, and then Charmaine grabs
Jack,
Jack. He starts them with small talk about
Liddy, how's Ricky?
Ricky, and she says, it's hard raising a teenager. It's a commitment, but he tells her she's got a big heart, and she says, so do you. And he says, I do. And she says to him, you play a tough guy, but you have a heart of gold. And she says, I think this is one of the reasons I love you. And
Oh, yes, one of the things I love most about you. And then she's fishing for compliments. Psh,
mm,
like, really? Now tell me
yeah.
something you love about me.
And he is literally,
Uncomfortable.
yeah, it's like the expression cat catch your tongue.
Hmm.
That man can't think of one thing, not one
It's
thing he
almost
can
like
come.
he doesn't want to say anything to lead her in a direction, but he doesn't want to be mean either. So he just
Yeah.
doesn't say anything.
And then he says, he looks at her and says, when we first started,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you got to take this one, because I tell you, uh, this is hard. This scene is hard to
I
watch,
feel bad for
because
her.
I do too, because we know where this is going, because he has listened to all the things that Mel has said to him, and
Hmm.
he is now starting to put it all together. And so now he picks, of all places,
Yes.
the middle of a dance.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't pick this while he went to pick her up from the dance. Oh, when
Well,
they got home,
it's just that she's being so forceful about
that's
tell me what you love about me and let's talk about our relationship. This is obviously not the place for it, but she's assuming that he's just going to be like, "Oh, of course I love you too." And yes, let's talk about it. She's clueless that this is not how he feels.
tell me about it.
And for
And
the last 2 years,
yeah,
she's like, wait a second, wait a second. You don't feel any more for me than you did when we met? Like, she's shocked.
yeah,
Shocked.
yeah, she is, and she doesn't, and she's like, I can't believe this. For him, he's still thinking that she's on the same
Yeah, they're on the same page.
on the same page.
Oh, yeah,
Because
no,
they
she's in a whole different
something.
book at this point.
Yeah, and that's why he's bringing it up, because
Hmm.
he's like, when we first started our relationship, we both agreed that there was nothing going to be serious. And basically, she's saying, basically, Jack, you know what we said when we first met is different than how we feel now. And he's like, no,
Mm,
I still
no.
feel the same. And so she is like
Well, he
so
wants to have
thrown
this.
off
He's like,
balance.
can we have this conversation alone? And she's just, I don't even want to
Yeah,
have a
in the middle of
conversation with
that,
you.
yeah,
I mean, she assumed they'd have a
she's
future.
yeah, exactly. They would have a future together. It's like, I
She
love you.
loves him, and he's
He's
just
looking
looking
around.
around like, oh my god, I can't, I need to get out of here. Like, this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't do this right now with you. And she decides to walk out, and he has not said a word
Nope.
while she's talking and saying all of this to him.
He's just standing
You
there
know,
looking very uncomfortable.
yeah, he is looking like a
A deer, yeah,
deer
the
in the
deer
head.
in headlights.
He is just thinking like, what have I gotten myself into? How am I going to get myself out of this? And he is just,
He probably would have kept on keeping on if
oh
Mel
yeah,
did not clue him in.
come into the town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But you remember what I said to you in a couple of episodes before. This is not the type of woman he would have brought home to his mother.
Mm-mm.
This is not the type of woman he would do this. This is a woman who is more than having,
He's just having
this is
fun with. It's a good
he
time. It's nothing serious. Just
nothing serious. You know, They go out, they have dinner, this is just,
Whatever.
that's it. But this is not somebody he's taking home to mama. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you that right now.
Exactly. And
So
Charmaine walks away and he's left standing there. But in his view, what does he see? A very,
no.
very sad Mel who looks like she's about ready to cry. And of course, he's like, "Are you okay?" Well, she's had better nights, and he's clearly feeling the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not a good night for either of them. She's just had an argument with her sister, and he's just had an argument with Charmaine. They're trying to make some small talk, and he, of course, compliments on how she looks, and she compliments him on how he looks. I mean,
Yeah.
they just don't even know what to say to each other. And he's
Yeah.
hoping that, even though she didn't want to come, like, are you at least happy you came? And of course, yes and no. It's probably not what she thought it was going to be, and then with everything going on with everybody, it's just. And of course, let's mingle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
So they get on the dance floor to dance,
It
and
was somehow or another they were going to end up dancing. I mean, it was a given. Now, if you look at how he's
oh, of
dancing with
course,
her,
definitely
very
doing that.
different than how he
Um,
dances with Charmaine, very different how she dances with Doc or with Preacher. Like, they're dancing
mm,
like they've been dancing for a very long time, very, very close,
yeah,
which is kind of cute.
yes.
That
Eh,
they're not dancing like they're a bunch of eighth graders.
no, 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 no. And in Jack's sight,
Peripheral vision.
that's thank you. He sees
Brady and
Joey.
Joey, yep.
Oh, and they are really up close and tight. And Mel sees it too as she spins around from dancing with Jack. And now things are about to get interesting, ladies and
Well, and
gentlemen.
he's like, "Why? I see your sister, and she looks like she's having a good time." And Mel is like, "Well, she's good at that. She always has a good time. I have to work hard for everything I do, but everything comes easy to her." And
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know Joey, but he knows Mel, or what he knows of Mel. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like he feels like she's just being too hard on herself. Like, she shouldn't have to compete with her sister. Like, there's no competition. In his mind, Mel is doing everything right. Like, there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with the situation. And unfortunately, she doesn't see herself the way he sees her, the way he feels like the world
Mm.
sees her,
Yeah.
which is a really nice compliment.
I know because he's trying to make her happy and feel comfortable in herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't stand watching what's going on with Joey and
And Brady,
Brady,
yep.
and she walks over to them and she's like, "Okay, time for you to go. Time to go home. You've had enough to drink." And she's like, "No, no, 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 no.
Everything is fine. We're
Yeah,
good. Mind your own business. I got this taken care of." And Brady's like, "I'm not on the clock. You don't get to tell me what to do, Mr. Sheridan. I'm fine." He's drinking. Joey's drinking. Everybody's a little tipsy. And he offers to, like, get him a ride home. And he was like, "No, I'm fine. You leave me out of this. I'm good."
yeah." And he makes the mistake of saying, "You're drunk." And he looks at Jack and he says, "I'm surprised that you're not drunk."
Mm-hmm.
And basically he says to
Brady.
Brady, "She's a married woman." And he turns around and tells Jack, "Well, that didn't stop you." And
Mm-hmm. Because so
then
is Mel.
he
And
right, exactly. Then he knocks him to the floor.
I mean,
And
that he didn't even hesitate.
no, that was it. And Mel just grabbed Joey and just took her out of the room. And that was it. And at the same time, who sees all this goes down?
Mm-hmm.
Charmaine.
Charmaine.
And it's
The
just
look on
like,
her face,
oh,
it's like, okay, I've heard
she's
rumors,
like,
I've seen things, but
yep,
hmm.
this is where it all goes down. And so, and at that point, I think for Charmaine, this all comes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah,
now realized, okay,
she's losing
I,
him.
right, she knows where she stands where he's concerned,
Yeah,
because he's willing to punch somebody out for her, and he's not even willing to say how he feels for
right.
her herself.
Yes.
So that's I think at that present moment, Charmaine is fully aware that Jack is now no longer hers.
Yeah, he definitely is, whether he wants to admit it or not, he clearly has feelings for Mel
Yes.
because he's acting in a way that someone who has feelings for someone would act. Yeah, I think
Yes.
I think this is also the start of other things that are going on with Charmaine. I feel like
Yes.
this is her realization that maybe what she would like to have with Jack is just maybe never going to happen. As much as she
Oh yeah,
wants it to, it's
yeah.
just possible that it's just never going to happen.
It's over. Their relationship. You and I both know that the minute he spotted her,
Mm-hmm.
whatever relationship he had with any other woman was
Well, it's
non-existent
done. Yeah.
because he felt.
Fast
Now,
and
I'm
hard.
not
Mm-hmm.
talking. It wasn't like, oh, she's cute and whatever.
Oh,
Oh
no.
no, oh, no, no, that was not
He
the
was done.
case.
His heart skipped a beat, and that was it.
Yes,
Well, that was a fun one. The Mingle's
it
fun.
was. The Mingle was a good one. It's always good to see a good knockdown punch. I have to see that. The gallant knights.
Standing up for your woman, even though it's not even his
Well,
woman.
he basically is trying to protect a woman's honor as
Yeah.
such.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. But this was a really good episode.
Yeah, I like that one. All right. Well, thanks again, Gigi.
It was a pleasure.
Yes, hanging out together, chatting about Virgin River. All right. Well, until the next one.
Bye.
Bye bye.